Hello, all, greetings. This is Gilles Mancillon. I wanted to come briefly today to offer a little bit of an oracle, then to do maybe a tarot reading for this full moon in Capricorne. I wanted to do a video on general videos, series of videos on philosophy, and for the past 6 months I've been reviewing all of the major current of philosophy. Not all, but most of what is Greek and Latin, and then German and French school, and then Asian philosophers and so on. And there's a lot of wonderful things, but it's very difficult to talk about it within context, without a context. So it'd be easier for me to put it down into a book if I have anything to express on that level, because it's philosophy is very important. It's the art of living, the quality of life, to always find new ways to increase the quality of our life, and to share our thoughts and ideas with others so that they can use those techniques, sciences, to increase the quality of their life. For we are all connected, we are all one, in essence. And I just discovered a philosopher that I didn't know before, but it was 2,000 years ago, so it's quite nothing new. But it's someone that's extremely well versed in the understanding of the law of one, of the understanding. His name is Marc Aurèle. He's influenced by Socrates and by Epictet. The Manual of Epictet is a very small book that's very insightful. And Marc Aurèle was a Roman emperor. At the end of his life, he had get sick and then so he started taking notes for himself that was supposed to be destroyed at the end of his life. He was just talking to himself, his inner guide talking to him, but those were preserved. And now when you read that, you feel like he's talking to you, but when he's talking about all those wonderful ideas and so forth, it feels like I do feel like I'm sharing a lot of value with that person. So it's but it's an interesting it's an interesting there are many interesting philosophies. The problem with philosophy is that very often we read about past philosophers, and then we eventually come to a proposition, say, well, yeah, I don't agree with that, which is okay. It's better to know how you feel in relationship to things than to accept things just because somebody else said it. And so you have to test it out by empirical experience. How does it react when you act out those ideas into your life? Do they make you feel good, or do they not make you feel good? And your experience being the adjuster, the one that has to dictate what you choose in relationship to philosophy or sciences. So basically the highest wisdom for us today is responsibility. We have to understand that with great power comes great responsibility. The more we have certain things to do, once we do those things, we are free. And so it is important to enjoy the responsibility that we have, and to free ourselves from those responsibilities that are too much, hybris. The Greek says they do not let excess, and so we want to keep to be perspicacious, to be perseverant, and to be temperate as well throughout all our process. It is always good to stay in balance, in natural balance. What we need to understand is the healer, is how to heal all those wounds, to let go of all this past, because the past is completely gone. Just as Epictet and Marc Aurèle really clearly stated, to them the present is the only thing we own. We do not own anything else. Our body, our family, our money, our situation, everything will be dust in a moment. So everything doesn't really exist. It is just the moment that we have now. The past is gone, the future is not there, and so we have the now. And this is really where we want to free ourselves from those. We have no choice but to be linked to past and future, but we still want to be free from a negative constraint in relationship to our memory or situation. For it is good to forgive yourself and others, and so to be free, and so that you can move on towards a higher, more responsible sort of creative process. What we need to do is the effort, is to produce an effort. There is a certain effort that needs to be done. Once we understand that, is not to make too much of it, not to make it too difficult for us. So just sometimes a simple effort could be enough to heal or cure a situation. And what we need, the general message for us is the higher self. the higher self is our soul and soul connection. That is the designer, the producer of the show. So the more we become our soul, the more we become empowered, the more we become clear-minded, and we gain perspective in relationship to so many other things. For the soul is in philosophy, most philosophers will use the word soul to describe the human consciousness, when to me the soul is an eternal being, and the human consciousness is just a facet of it. Yet the soul has the whole memory of everything, and so the soul is the divine self. It is connected to the cosmic mind, and therefore has access to the whole array of eternal wisdom and information. So as we connect to our soul, we become a lot more able to get insight into every situation, moment by moment, as it unfolds. I'm going to look at this full moon coming up. Capricorne is the great mother. It is a very important. It is an important full moon because it brings abundance. It is very important to understand. Capricorne is a goat. That was the Amalthée, her name was. That was inspired this story. Was the goat that nourished Zeus when he was young, and at some point he played with the goat, and he broke one of her horn, and so he gave it to the nymph, the young goddess that was taking care of him, as the horn of abundance, so they could find everything that they ever wanted within this horn. So hopefully this great mother will bring that to us, will bring that abundance, will bring that easy flow of receptivity, of being able to give and to share and to receive, so that there is no blockages within that. The general situation is the ability of the dream. The dream is is the manifestation of the dream. It doesn't even have to manifest; it has to be cultivated. And when it's time, the things happen as by miracle. But there's no miracle; it has been cultivated. And when it's the time, it's like a red fruit. It will come down, just like a fruit falls down from a tree. And so it is important to cultivate our dreams, to see exactly, not to compromise our dream, to allow ourselves to dream big, even if we have to resize it, depending on the situation. It's always good not it's the spiritual energy, the mental energy that it takes to create a big dream or a small dream is exactly the same, so we may as well not compromise ourselves within our dreams. What is coming to influence the situation is the source. It is the creator. It is through the galactic center. There is a great deal of new energies that have been coming in to help us to integrate this energy and to return to our divine nature, to our divine self, the I am presence. What we see in front of us, below our feet, before us, is the compromise, the idea of compromise. What do we need to compromise? There's a lot of always a need for compromise on the earth, sometimes on the earth's planes, but it doesn't mean that we have to compromise our principle, or that we have to compromise our hopes, our wishes, our dreams. So we have to be careful what kind of compromise we do. We do not want to we want to stop conflict before they happen. We do not want to get involved in drama. It's better to allow let those things pass. If otherwise it is better to agree that we disagree with someone than to push a fight to his bitter end, just to win over an argument. And so that is Socrates, who would really never knew anything about anything, but anybody that would come up to him about any thought, he could always decompose the thoughts and show the person that in truth he didn't know anything, but he doesn't provide answer. He allows the answer is already within ourselves. We have sometimes to let go of a blockage, a mental belief, for a new truth to reveal within ourselves, and that is what is happening. Once we let go of those compromising situation and position, we find the sun, we find innocence, we find purity. For original thought is already the first action, the first intention is already pure, always pure. It is just when it becomes calculated that it can separate itself from innocence, but there is no need for that. For we as we integrate this these forces of the sun, the acceptance of receiving all our good from the universe, that we reconnect to our source, to our Father, our Creator, we become more and more at ease within our life. And the subconscious, which is right below, that can come up is the inner voice. It is the card of intuition. It is the card of the soul. It is the higher self. So this card of this inner voice is it is the great force that moves our life, and so we have to tune into this inner voice, even though it is subconscious right now. It will come up. For now, there is that is the present. It's called suppression. It is someone that's been submerged by ropes, and it's heavy. It's getting rid of it, all this burden, or it's all kind of old burden that needs to be relinquished. Once we do that, we understand what those burdens are, and we remove the ropes that are tying us down. We find success, and we are able to really move. We find success on that level, which creates that freedom, which allows more success and more abilities to come in. What is coming up in the near future is clinging to the past. It means that no matter how much we try, the past will come back in front of us. But that is all just something that we need to understand, is that the past is gone. The past does not exist. It is because we bring it before us that it becomes reactualized within the present. And so if something from the past comes into the present, it is because we need to change our attitude in relationship to it, or there is something to exploit in relationship to something positive in the future. But as a matter of the general rule, the past is not something we want to let go of all those luggages from the past. It's really sometimes it prevents us from being free to create in the present. So we have to allow the transformation. There's this big transformation that is happening, that will free us from all kinds of old memories, all kinds of cellular blockages that we may still have, and that's so the healing can be fully integrated, and we can become the full. For that is who we are in this situation. This is our strength, our force. For we are we have the ability to be free from fear, to do quantum leaps. So the tiger of fear, how does it look like? It's the void, the nothingness. So there is no need to be afraid that life will continue to be what it is, even if we let go of the past and the future. We find ourselves within this void. That there is really the key is to understand that the less we need to fill it up with our own thing, this void, the better the divine light will be able to show us the way. And so how do we make our leap into the future? We follow the guidance. We follow our higher intuition. We follow our master guide. We follow our angels. We follow our teachers. We follow life. Whatever life is teaching us is what we need to follow. The tiger of fear, it looks like moment to moment. It means it's really important. It's not easy to change these paradigms, but it is very important to understand that each moment is suffice to himself. Nothing we have here is really ours. Everything is just a temporary formation, construction, but the only way to enjoy it is one moment at a time. So it is no longer living in time, it is living in the moment, and that is really, it's not really so easy, but we should not be afraid of that. We should aspire to that, to have the trust that each moment can provide all that we need for in the present. We are all equal in the present. There is no separation in the present. Everything that makes us different comes from the past and will be projected into the future. But the present, that's what Marc Aurèle was saying in his thoughts, that there is really that's really the only thing that is here, and even that it doesn't matter. That can be taken away. That's the only thing we own is the present, and that's the only thing that can be taken away from us. So enjoy the present, enjoy every moment, and you can make the most of it. Even if we miss something, that's okay. If we learn that we've missed something, that we've learned something. And our heart will call us to go to harmony. Everything, all the energy will come together in an harmonious way. It is just a matter of being calm, being patient, allowing the process of the light to organize all those new systems of energy within ourselves. We have to be careful in terms of the environment, not to be influenced by the politics. It means all the distractions of the world, all of the insincerity of the world, all of the hypocrisy in many sense, and for that many philosophers have also looked into that, in saying that most ancient philosophers would consider that that only what is your own responsibility, well, it's more Epictet, but only what is you are only responsible from those things in which that depend directly from you. Anything that is not depend from you, that's beyond your control, is none of your concern. Everything in life will happen. You have to accept life, but not to be distracted by all the false appearances of this glamour and pageantry of the political world and all those things. Do not let that distract you. Concentrate on your well-being, on feeling good, and not allowing those things from the outside world to take away your joy. And from there, the environment will change from a position of opposition, the dark, I am the light and the dark is opposing me, to a position of unity, where they come sharing. The whole world will come to share in this unity. And so sharing is about compassion, it's about teaching, it's about the free exchange of energy and things. And so there is a great deal to be discovered once we let go of all those senses of duality. Right now we still have some unknowing about the future, and therefore there is projections. So we project something, but it's not necessarily what the truth will be for us. Sometimes we project worries, sometimes we project extremely optimistic thoughts. Usually it will come down to the middle usually, but in essence, do not worry. It's better to be overly optimistic and be disappointed than to be pessimistic and create misery for yourself because you manifested, because our thoughts are very powerful. In reviewing those philosophers, I realized that sometimes that there was a philosopher named Seneca, who was very quite wise and very enjoyable to listen to, but he's very, very pessimistic. Epictet as well. It's like he wants us to be always prepared for the worst situation in case it happens, so we won't be surprised. But in many sense, I do not agree with that. I think it is far better to focus all our energy in terms of what is wanted, so without having to project so much, but to know what we want and to trust that within the now, by being in the now with that thought, the universe is in essence in the process of creating it, making it manifest for us. So when we stop projecting, we find intensity, we find the power of our will, we find we have the power to move things from our thoughts and emotion. And so there is a great deal of intensity, and the outcome to this month's energy will be we are the world. It is the card of abundance, it is a card of riches, it is a card of sharing, it is a card of we all live in one family. It is we all, in truth, we are all one family, even if we're not we don't think the same, we do not have the same habits, the same desires. It is part of the riches of the infinite. The infinity of the creators that have spread themselves throughout the universe of universes to explore this great diversity. And on the earth there is a great deal of diversity when it comes to belief, when it comes to desire, when it comes to lifestyle, and so but we all are one family, and everyone has something valuable to share. And so never underestimate your own value in relationship to what is going on in life, for you are the most important actor in your life, and so that is the one you need to love, the one you need to support, the one you need to encourage. There is within you this divine force of creation that is transcendental of all things. So therefore there is no limit in relationship to what can be attained. It is just a matter for us to move into a state of receptivity that will allow us to open ourselves to receiving those higher light information and be transformed by it. Well, I hope this reading was interesting for you. I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you for everything, and I'll talk to you later. Namaste.